Welcome everybody to Back in Toons. Obviously, right there we have our setup. We're going to be watching Speed Racer. Our second cartoon is going to be Pole Position. I'm your host, Michael, and my co-host...
Jacob, here, watch me do this donut.
that is a really fun tune. That is one of the best theme songs I think we've ever had on here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, my gosh. It brings back so many memories. I remember staying up late at night just to watch this cartoon. My parents would let me because, sympathy. Because they did the same thing when they were younger. They watched this cartoon a lot.
I'm surprised it was on so late. Cartoons, when I was a kid, man, you wouldn't be able to find a cartoon that late. It was like, at best, you find it on Cartoon Network when I was in my 20s.
Oh, well, hey, I was a little kid at the time, man. Yeah. What can you expect?
Well, if you had the Cartoon Network. See, I never had the Cartoon Network until 2001.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Well, it's okay. I understand.
I lived in a small town. We didn't carry Cartoon Network until then.
That's right. Oh, my gosh. The elder days of television.
Well, also the Midwest. The Midwest, man, it was really a stranglehold. We had 36 stations. 36, dude. And the day that it went to 45, we're like, oh my, 45 channels. And that's when we finally got the Cartoon Network. And they're like, wee! And now it's like,
I know.
How many channels are there now? How many channels?
Lots.
1,000.
Lots and lots.
Now we have streaming. All right, so we're talking about Speed Racer first. So the very first episode is available on YouTube. It is called The Great Plan. It is part 1. We're only going to do part 1, or we're going to be here for hours. So if you want to get the episode ready, we're going to talk about it while it plays.
All
ready,
right.
Set, go.
All right. Wonderful intro. Okay, we get to see the Mach 5 and Speed just jump right into it. Now, that whole scarf around his neck, did all racers used to have that kind of thing? Was that the style?
You know what? I have seen that in some other stuff where they're wearing an ascot? Is that what that is? A dickie is where it's like goes down under the shirt, right? An ascot's just like the scarf. Actually, now that I think about it, it seems like it was in a few cartoons. Didn't Fred from Scooby-Doo wear one of those?
He did. That was one of his most redeeming qualities, always having that friggin' scarf. Just because he was a leader. He was a leader of the gang, and he had to show his dominance with the power of a scarf.
Power scarf. That's something you'll never hear.
Okay, so these races that, just from this intro, you just see Speed Racer knock a guy off, and then the car explodes. So I'm like, these people die in these races? Is that even legal? Is this underworld stuff right here? And there's that classic pose right in front of the Mach 5. You can tell this is, animated. This is overseas animation.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was one of the first cartoons to use the speed lines, too, which is kind of common now. But, in order to actually get speed with limited animation, that's something they designed. And I was like, that's a clever idea. Even back in the day when I was a little kid, I was like, I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, you can definitely tell. It's like kind of still. It's like the same. It's like pretty much the same photo being shot over and over and over again, especially on the raceways.
Yeah, and we had to save money. Animation, even if it was an American company, was extremely limited in what they could do for the money. I mean, what is it? Johnny Quest was huge budget back in the day, but if you look at it now, it's like, oh wow, they had no money to do this properly.
No, that was just early stages of animation. Let's not discriminate here or second guess like that. Come on, kids.
So the funny thing is the title is actually called Mach Go Go Go, And I actually kind of like that name a little bit better than Speed Racer, which sounds like sacrilege.
Mach go go go. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure, like in the Japanese voice casting, they shouted that numerous times. Pretty much almost every time, pretty much every animated Japanese animated cartoon I watch, I always, when I hear it in the Japanese audio track, they definitely are a little bit more enthusiastic than they should be.
Yes.
Like, go, Speed Racer, go! Like, that's what you hear in the American track. Oh, Speed Racer, go! No offense, but I mean, that's just my interpretation from what I've heard so far.
Well, it's higher energy. I would say we're kind of subtle with some of our stuff. Like, you notice the comedy is different over there as well. It's a little bigger. Like, what was the movie, Mr. Magoo, the movie with Leslie Nielsen? It was directed by Stanley Tong, who had done Rumble in the Bronx. And his approach to comedy is very over the top, hyper realism, exaggerated movements, and it's something that works over there. But when it came over here, we're just like, what is going on? There's not even a single subtle moment in this whatsoever.
That just seems so ridiculous. I mean, it is like watching those Japanese game shows too. Oh my gosh, those are really outlandish and out there. I was like, if you think people go crazy on The Price is Right, wait till you watch that.
What is the show where it's like, it was on, I want to say TBS or something, where they took out all the audio and they had these improv actors come in and do the most ridiculous, most extreme elimination challenge.
Oh, I thought it was Whose Line Is It Anyway?
No, it's a most extreme elimination challenge. It was a Japanese game, and they took out all the audio and they had all these comedians come in and overdub it. It's the most. Have you never seen this?
I have watched this. I'm thinking back now. Yeah, they say some of the most ridiculous stuff. Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure the hosts were like dressed up in like these big outlandish like samurai garb.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so enjoyable. I mean, I remember the first time I saw what's the cooking show where it's really disgusting? It's like they have one thing and then everybody gets together and they have to make all the stuff with it and they have a panel of people to talk about it. What the hell's that show? Iron Chef. Iron Chef, the original version of Iron Chef, it was like a 50-50 shot on whether the food was going to be like, oh, okay, pork. And the next one, eagle's eyes. You're like, what? They actually got enough eagle eyes? That's disgusting. But I have to keep watching this. What are they going to do with that?
Exactly. Or like what they do with bamboo. I mean, Morimoto was in it one time, and that was the main ingredient.
Wow.
But I will say this one about Speed Racer, they're definitely capturing the enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that with a cartoon. A lot of this stuff's really stilted. By the way, we just did an episode of Trash Cinema where we discussed the Speed Racer movie. Now, did you see the movie?
Oh, I did. I saw it in theaters.
What did you think?
Like I said, for what it was, I thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was fun. It did kind of like capture some of the classic Speed Racer moments.
Yeah.
But when they tried to like, I think there was that one scene with Racer X played by Matthew Fox, Jack from Lost.
Uh-huh.
He the way he was trying to characterize or humanize racing, it's like, we do not change racing. The problem is if we let racing change us,
Which is a terrible line. It's so campy.
It was just some campy. I guess they were trying to put too much of that like little Matrix twist of philosophies into that movie.
The funny thing is, the first time I saw it, I actually couldn't finish it. It was extremely painful for me. And if I had seen it in the theater, I'm pretty sure I'd be throwing up because the action is almost, I couldn't tell what was going on. It's just a bunch of globs ramming at each other, just a candy-coated nightmare of a movie. But I love the scenes with the family. The family's so much fun. I would literally watch a whole movie with that monkey and that little kid just goofing around.
Bridle and Chim Chim.
Yeah. Thank you.
My God, those were some of the most entertaining, especially when they get that candy sugar rush and they're just driving in that little go-kart throughout the factory. That was classic. I was like, okay, now that's one of the most enjoyable scenes I've seen in this movie. Honestly, I liked the racing part too. I was like, whoa, that's definitely something I'd see in the cartoon.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It's just the way they filmed it. I couldn't tell what was going on. It's like the way Michael Bay he directs his fight sequences. It's just a bunch of random things bashing into each other. I'm like, wait, I can't tell who is who. But the movie isn't anywhere nearly as bad as his ham-handed kind of nonsense. But, the Wachowski brothers, they made a campy movie on purpose because it is based on a cartoon. And I just don't think people were ready for that. And on second viewing, I enjoyed it more. I'll probably watch it again a few years down the road. And my opinion might even change more for the better.
Me too. I mean, plus, visually, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, you're looking at it, it is very much like cartoony and, the way it was like shaded was like looking at a graphic novel too.
Yeah, it has a lot of pop, man. The movie, but the action sequences, I'm gonna have to sit farther back and maybe not pay attention because I was like, oh, give me a Dramamine now.
Yeah, and then oh gosh, Christina. I also like Christina Ricci as Trixie. I thought she was perfect. Plus, it's Christina Ricci. Absolutely love her.
No.
Loved her since she was Wednesday.
John Goodman was the one I went with. He was like pitch perfect for that character.
Playing Pops. Pops, being kind of stubborn and like anti-corporate, and he was right to do so because look what they were trying to do.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think they had in the cartoon was there wasn't really much social political stuff going on with it. Whereas they added that to the movie and gave it a lot of depth. And it was perfect timing because that was right as all the corporations really started getting overblown and corrupt and going bankrupt because of overspending. And they're still doing it today. I mean, you look at some of the companies. We try to get political on the show, but you look at a lot of companies and they're just like, how is this legal? How is this legal?
Exactly. It's like they're more profitable than ever and they're still asking for bailouts. And they're giving them, J.P. Morgan and Chase, I think a couple of years ago gave themselves $91 billion in bonuses.
That's ridiculous, and we're footing the bill. But let's try not to go too far on that. But definitely, it's something food to chew on when you watch the movies because they really kind of like, hey, let's not ignore this.
Yeah.
So here's the weird thing: is I thought the show was on forever, but it was only on for 1 year, 52 episodes from 67 to 68. That's crazy. I thought it was on for a long time. And there's a manga. How you say it? Manga? I always say this wrong. Manga, right?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, so Speed Racer, the movie is fine. The cartoon is something, we've had this discussion in other cartoons. If it was anime, it was very hard for me to find because this stuff did not get carried in Indiana. I think there was 4 Asians in all of Indiana at the time. That's how bad it was. So there's like, they don't have any interest in it. Not realizing that there's a huge market with everybody. I mean, everybody loves anime now, but back then it's kind of alien. I mean, we didn't get Voltron, we didn't get Speed Racer, no Astro Boy, Digimon. I mean, the first thing I think we ever got was Pokemon because it was such an insane franchise. What's the other robot one? Robotech. We never got that. Gundam. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
None of these. So I have never seen Robotech.
Dang, man. Oh my gosh, you definitely are missing out. It is a classic. Especially, it's not just like about giant robots, but also about alien invasions and uniting the entire Earth. I mean, that's how it starts off at first, and then it really just branches on. But knowing that Sony Pictures acquired the rights to do a Robotech movie, I'm hoping they'll do a great job.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing that we didn't get these cartoons, and yet for some reason I got to see Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos. A classic.
Oh my gosh, yes. But yeah, I'm hoping. Let's see. As far as the other anime-based action movies go, I know they're going to be doing Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson, which I'm not really looking forward to because I don't really care much for it.
Yeah.
I've watched it a couple times. Hey, I gave it some credit, but just won't do anything for me.
I love the car. I have to say this: the pilot. What is it called? The Pilot Ace. The design of this car is so amazing for something in a cartoon to look even cooler than most of the stuff that they even did in a movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. However, I will say this: what they did in the movies with the Speed Racer movie, what they did, the look of the car too, and just getting it really detailed, and with all the inventions and little gadgets inside the Mach 5.
Yeah, those are crazy.
I was really impressed. And I thought some of the races were really intense and, really adrenaline fueled.
Well, I'll say this. The logistics of some of the stuff that he does with the car, I'm not so sure it fits. But, whatever. Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Bouncing off of other cars and stuff. I'm like, well, but still, they were adding, the Wachowskis were adding, a cartoon element to it. Because, Speed Racer was based off the cartoon.
Right.
But I don't remember, right now, as we witness Spreadle crying, I don't remember him crying at all like that in the movie.
No, that kid was cool in the movie. He had kind of like a little spark to him, a little bit of a rebellious nature to him, which I enjoy to no end.
Oh yeah. Plus, he had a pet monkey. That was awesome.
Oh, that monkey's awesome. Seriously, I would watch a whole series with just him and the monkey.
Oh, I know. Just going on like they're detectives or something.
Yeah,
that'd be perfect.
That or just a whole series where you just give them tons of candy and they freak out. I'd watch 20 minutes of them freaking out.
I know, I think back then, I think probably at least until, Macaulay Culkin, I'm pretty sure kids just got paid in candy.
Did you ever read the comic book? You might have been too young for that. But there was a series from Now Comics. Now Comics was kind of like Dark Horse, where they licensed a bunch of stuff. They had a few original stuff like Ralph Snart, but they would license out, known comic books or known characters, whatever, and then develop a series around them. Like they had the Real Ghostbusters and Fright Night, and they had Speed Racer. And so I remember Speed Racer being very popular, being probably one of their best known series, but sadly Now Comics, they never really had much success, and they just kind of collapsed.
True. Sad but true.
A lot of independent comic book companies, they think they can spend tons of money on licensing, and it never follows through, and then all of a sudden they got nothing else. Like, crap, we're broke.
Right.
I honestly keep expecting Dark Horse to go under because they spent so much money on licensing, and now the whole Star Wars Indiana Jones thing is gone.
Really? I thought they were doing really successful with Knights of the Old Republic. Heck, they made games based off those stories.
What game?
Well, at least in the Knights of the Old Republic, they actually based like a little story arc around the time those stories happened.
Yeah,
at least,
but they made money then, but that was a long time ago, and they've done a lot of... There's a period where they had too many series, and they were all bombing, and they just lost a lot of money. And then when Disney acquired Marvel, they said, well, why would we sell the rights to another company? So once it expired with Dark Horse, they just took it back. Now Star Wars and Indiana Jones are now being produced by Marvel Comics.
Oh, well, yeah, it makes sense now that, Disney owns both of them, and they're going to... I mean, in creative hands, I think that's a good idea. I mean, with what Marvel's doing. Although, as far as, Marvel discontinuing Deadpool and Fantastic Four until they get the movie rights back, I think that's kind of a...
Yeah, that's a really stupid idea. It burns the fans. I don't know what they're thinking.
I know.
And I don't know how can they get the rights back for Deadpool? I mean, they'd have to get all the X-Men. I don't know what's going on, but Marvel seems like they're making some extremely stupid decisions, at least from a fan standpoint.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will say that speaking of Deadpool, they are doing principal photography, and by far, I think it's just perfect. Considering the revealing Deadpool's costume, how he's laid out on the fur, with the fireplace in the background. That's totally Deadpool.
All right, so back to Speed Racer. The Now Comics series lasted for quite some time. They gave spin-offs. Racer X is an awesome character, especially visually. I love the look of him. Yeah, and they gave him a bunch of spin-offs, and they tried 3D comics. It just never really took off. But then when the license lapsed and Now Comics shut down, Wildstorm, which is I think Wildstorm was Jim Lee's company. They did Speed Racer for a while, and they got bought out by DC Comics. So I don't know who owns the rights to Speed Racer right now, which is kind of a bummer.
Right now, that little technique that Pop's used to put that ink onto the windshield, it's very risky, but yet so far away from harm because nobody would have suspected that. Maybe next time when I break into a auto parts store and try to find their plans for a new engine, I just know where to look now. Then again, I'm not an evil genius, nor would I ever want to break into a place. Can you imagine the fear? God, I'd be scared out of my mind. It's I break into a place, all of a sudden, the person turns on the lights. I'm like, oh my God, you scared me. And then I just walk out. And the person would be paralyzed, and the other, the tenant of whose house I was breaking into would be terrified beyond relief and be like, what just happened? Jeez.
I didn't know that there was another series in 1993 where it was, they took the anime style out and they made it just a generic American cartoon.
Yes, I know they did relaunch and reboot the Speed Racer cartoon. I think around late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even had the action figure Speed Racer and all that. I just never had Mach 5.
Oh, you know what? I know this company. This is the same company that did the James Bond Jr. cartoon that we discussed last month.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they look like they're an anime company but they're not. They're Irish company. So I don't know what an Irish company is doing Speed Racer for. That seems kind of sacrilege. Just like when Americans do Godzilla movies without any input from the original company.
Yeah, it is. Well, I do want to say this about Racer X. When you were mentioning his little spin-offs, I'm like, yeah, that guy could totally have spin-offs. I mean, he was my favorite character, honestly. I mean, he was secret agent. He was total action man.
Well, yeah, if you look at the character, he's very anti-hero, and who doesn't love an anti-hero?
Heck, I mean, he even had the like X across his face on his mask. That's like that's how like Cyclops looks modernly in Marvel now.
You know what's weird is you mentioned something about Deadpool earlier, and I remember for a while there that Deadpool was gone. He melted down to some blob of goo, and all of a sudden out of nowhere there comes a character called Agent X, who everybody thought was Deadpool but wasn't. But he had almost the same exact look as Racer X. That's kind of weird and litigious.
Very peculiar. What are they up to now? But, you know, as far as it goes for, like, reading the actual comics, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really read too much of Marvel. I mean, like, I'm more of a DC fan, but considering, like, what they're doing so far in the cinematic universe, I think they're doing a great job, except for Ghost Rider.
Well, yeah, that's always a sticking point with people. You know, I think I'm a DC person, too. I love the rich history of it. But I'll grab a good Marvel comic here and there. But what irritated me is that we're stuck in the superhero world. Why is it that we can't make more independent comics successful? I mean, it seems like once a year something comes out that's decent, and the biggest success has been Walking Dead. But why is it like, why can't Speed Racer be relaunched? Now, I remember when the Speed Racer series came out from Wildstorm, they said it was going to be like the biggest thing, and it didn't take off at all. Maybe these kind of comic books, if they're not in a costume, for some reason people just don't find it appealing. And I have no idea why.
Oh, honestly, for me, I thought Question was very appealing as far as DC characters go. I mean, like I said, you know, he just had a simple trench coat. All he did was just cover his face. He was like, you know, pretty much like No Face from Dick Tracy.
Yeah, you know, the Question is a really good character. Dennis O'Neil did a fantastic job on him, but is he even around right now? Is anybody using that character? Because I feel like he's kind of off in limbo.
Well, I know as far as like the Question goes, I mean, it's brought back as a girl, and it's Renee Montoya from the Batman.
Right. I totally forgot about that. The original guy died, and I hate it when they do that. Just kill guys off. Oh, time to move on.
Yeah, it is. It's sadly.
Yeah, but there will always be one Speed Racer. You think they'll ever move Speed Racer on, and then it'll be the little boy? It'll be Spritle?
Maybe.
He'll
perhaps,
take over.
Who knows? And Chim Chim will be like his co-pilot.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like, who knows? Chim Chim could probably throw like little gadgets, you know, really throw him off.
And then maybe Speed Racer would become Racer X, and then Racer X would become like the head of the spy unit, like the way Nick Fury is.
Yeah, like Inspector Detector.
Jeez, some of these explosions are pretty horrifying for a kid to watch, man. These people are getting... I don't see them leaving. I don't see them escaping. I'm seeing them blow up. Okay, that person is dead. This is a cartoon. There's dead people left and right. This is insane.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, they can't even draw a guy with like a little parachute. Yes, exactly. Look, it's like he doesn't eject. There's no ejector seats.
No, this is not G.I. Joe where everybody saw them like, oh, they're safe. These people are not safe. This is horrifying for a cartoon.
It is. My gosh, it's like racing in this world. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like the normal thing to do. It's pretty much like Death Race.
Yeah, you know,
it's practically Death Race minus being in prison.
Yeah, or well, you know, the first one's not in prison. You've seen the original with David Carradine?
Oh yes, that's right, the original one.
Yeah, lots of satire, lots of outrageous, goofy behavior. Yeah, they're just in it for the money, man. They're not criminals.
I know, it's like so bizarre. And you know, we applaud. You know, kids will like, you know, watch and applaud this. Like they're hoping. They just want him to, you know, actually ram a guy off the side of the street. They want him to kill. It's kind of sickening.
I like the snidely whiplash mustache of the villain. Yes.
Yes, of course. From Wacky Races, like an old cartoon.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Well, actually, I think Snidely Whiplash is from Dudley Do-Right, but there's a lot of villains that had those little 1920s vaudeville kind of mustaches.
Exactly. I was just about to mention that next time I talk to my friend who has those kind of mustaches, I'm like, okay, which villain are you right now?
Get him a monocle for Christmas.
Pretty much, yeah. And he does. And one of my friends who has that kind of mustache, he is a little overweight. So I'm like, oh my gosh, here, take this umbrella and this top hat too. Oh my God, you're perfect.
All right, so that's it for Speed Racer. We're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to hit up pole position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
They're moving real fast, they're the only ones who can get there on time.
Okay,
never too far behind, they are always fighting crime.
Stop time, Dan. Ready when you are, Rhodey.
In the danger zone. Pretty soon they'll be off on a mission.
Hydrofoil mode, Rhodey. Hydrofoil engaged, Dan. What's behind the wheel?
Hovercraft, quick!
Nothing you say, Dan.
What's behind this control? Only there are alone. Sit back and watch them go.
All right, so that's pole position. The first episode is up on YouTube, incomplete. It's called The Code. If you want to find the proper user, Samtron313 is the right uploader. The other one's kind of cut up in chunks. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and hit play. You ready?
All right.
Ready?
Yes. Speaking of, yeah,
Whoop.
I'm good. Ready, set, go.
Go. What were you
Okay,
saying?
now we're synced. Okay, I have to say, is Kenny Loggins singing this intro?
It
song?
sounds like a Kenny Loggins ripoff, that's for sure.
Definitely. And I don't remember pole position ever, like the cars actually morphing into something else. I just remember it being a very tough and difficult racing game.
You know what? There's no plot to pole position as far as I know, so I don't know where they came up with that.
Well, it's a cartoon. They thought, hey, kids will like it. Oh, look. Is that cat talking? Wait, this animation looks familiar. Who did the animation for this cartoon?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, it does look awfully familiar. I want to say... Uh-oh. Oh, something suspicious is going on when people nod at each other at a stadium. Uh-oh.
It's Deke. They did Inspector Gadget, and actually, it's probably the most well-known. We discussed some of their stuff from here and there, but they didn't have, if you were to line up all the successful animation companies of the 80s, they're probably about fifth. They had some decent stuff, but nothing really groundbreaking.
For me, it was the most memorable because I would see that almost all the time after every cartoon I ever watched growing up. But, okay. Oh, speaking of Tron, yeah, Olivia Wilde's going to be in, she's confirmed to play Cora again.
Yes, I'm very, very happy.
I will say, I wonder if they're going to bring in any of the characters from the cartoon show, the one that had Elijah Wood in it.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot there was even a series.
Oh yeah, it was a great series too. I mean, I thought it was great. It looked fantastic. And talking about what was happening in between, the 20-year gap between the events of Tron Legacy from when Flynn was stuck, Flynn was stuck in the grid, and leading up to Sam coming in.
So I just want to say, oh, go ahead.
Plus, as far as design goes, I mean, Joseph Kaczynski's not going to do the same thing. He's going to take it much further.
Yeah, he's not going to repeat himself. Well, I think it's going to take place in our world. The Tron world's going to leak over to our world.
Oh yeah, that is. I mean, considering Sam, Sam getting out with Cora, but then again, pretty much that whole way station, after blowing up that entire station and then the portal closing.
Yeah.
Maybe Flynn's explosion might have left a hole open.
Who knows?
But anyway,
back to the show. So Deke is the company that produced this. We've discussed a few of their shows. We had done Teen Wolf. Me and my friend Ron did Teen Wolf, and I thought there was another one that we talked about, but I'm not really seeing it here. What they're known for, their shows are not really that successful. They had Heckle and Jekyll for a couple years, Popeye for a few. Fat Art with the Cosby Kids is probably the most successful show.
Oh, definitely.
There's some here, I've seen almost every single one of these cartoons. None of them are really that good, but they're always kind of cult followings. There's Drac Pack. There was Quickie Koala Show, Black Star, Gilligan's Planet. Literally Gilligan's Island, but set on a planet. One that I was fascinated by as a kid, which no one seems to have any memory of, is Meatballs and Spaghetti. It was a fat guy, Meatball, and a skinny girl, Spaghetti, and they were in a rock and roll band with their dogs, and they went around on adventures. It was crazy. Dungeons and Dragons, that's really well known. They did the Charlie Brown and Snoopy Show, Get Along Gang. Oh, Muppet Babies. Everybody knows Muppet Babies.
Oh my gosh, yes, Muppet Babies. Yes, that was one of the ones I knew big time. I think before I knew actual Muppets. Yeah. It was always Muppet Babies.
Galaxy High, which I watched like a fiend. And of course, their most notorious show when it comes to like controversy is the Mighty Mouse, the New Adventures from 87, 88, because it was constantly throwing in all these things that were like, whoa, was that allowed on a kid's show? We should discuss that one sometimes because it's pretty outrageous.
Indeed. Now, now I'm guessing here, pole position, I guess these two, like, this racing duo between brother and sister, or I guess driving some high-tech gear. Like, they're pretty much like, happier versions of Knight Rider.
You know what? You have to say there's probably an influence of Knight Rider in this. I honestly, I played the video game as a kid. I don't remember there being a plot whatsoever. So they must have just hired a crew just to come up with some random stuff to throw in, which is strange because there was a handful of cartoons based on video games around that time, and the games kind of had a plot you could hinge onto. This is one where they're just like, it just has to have cars in it. Just do whatever. Just have cars. All right, cool.
The only Nintendo games that I remember ever playing that had plots were Super Mario and, Batman.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's bare bones plot to Pac-Man, which is a really good cartoon. So that's something. Donkey Kong had a little bit of a story, so, there's that.
Yeah. Donkey Kong, oh wait, there was an actual animated show in the 80s. I was thinking of the 3D animated one in early 2000s.
Oh yeah, no, there's a cartoon called Saturday Supercade, which I would love to cover when what's that movie again with Adam Sandler coming out? Pixels?
Oh yeah.
Well, Saturday Supercade was from the same company that did this, and they had Frogger, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong, Q*bert, and I think there's a couple others mixed in there, and it's a lot of fun.
Super Mario Super Brothers show with Lou Ferrigno?
Oh,
No. Lou Albano.
Lou Albano, yeah.
Me, Lou Albano. Hey, paisanos.
It's me, Mario. Actually, you got it right. He had more of a gruff voice. Pole Position is it's probably a game that's actually really forgotten, but at the time it was huge. It's a Namco game. Namco made a few sequels to this, but in 1983 it was the highest grossing arcade game in North America. 20,000 machines were sold for a total of $61 million. That's just the machines. That's not counting the money that it actually brought in. And I mean, just it's stunning that it was so successful, but I think it's a pretty much forgotten game.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they covered some, or at least made an homage to that in Wreck-It Ralph. With Turbo-tastic.
Yeah,
Turbo.
It might be. I haven't even watched all of Wreck-It Ralph. I should really get around to doing that.
Oh, dude, I highly recommend it. I mean, yeah, it's a Pixar film, but it appeals to every video game, ever. You'll see an Easter egg from everything, pretty much. It's you'll see even, well, they had to give some money to Capcom because they used, Capcom characters like Zangief and M. Bison and Ryu. Pretty much almost all the Street Fighter characters. They even had a Metal Gear Solid little Easter egg where, Wreck-It Ralph's digging through the lost and found, and he finds the exclamation point that you see that pops above people's heads when you get caught, and then he goes in intruder mode. There's also, of course, yes, Mario, Sonic, there's all sorts of stuff.
Now, I don't think this was the very first game to have a sit-down cabinet, but you know what I'm talking about, where you go in and it encompasses your whole body, basically, where you sit in a hub.
Right.
Those classic. It's one of the very first games I've ever seen where it was set up like that. I know there was a Star Wars game I used to love to play, and Star Trek also had one. But at the time, it was really unusual to have a game. What do you even call those? Like the closed consoles where you sit down? Oh, cockpit. It's like a cockpit. And, it had the pedal and the shifting gears and stuff like that, whereas the stand-up was just not the same. And whenever you found one of those sit down, you're like, woo! It's just so awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially the Episode 1 Pod Racer game, which I think was the only cool thing that came out of, the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah. Was that
and Darth Maul.
Was that a cockpit, or was that a sit down, where it's an open field, but you have a real seat?
Oh, it's like an open field, but you have a real seat. You actually have the shift and gears, but it's not you're not entombed in a case. No.
Yeah, I think they pretty much stopped doing that. You see one every once in a while. Usually like a shooting game, where you're in a cabinet. but a lot of times it's really open, like the Fast and Furious game, which is kind of open. And what was the one I just played? I played a Batman one where you're in the Batmobile, but it has tons of like little gadgets all around. You're sitting in it or whatever, but you're not closed in. I think that's kind of. I think it's because some people get claustrophobic.
Yeah, that could be it too. It's like, who knows? Like, oh gosh, I don't know how some kids are just somewhat born claustrophobic from now on. I don't know why. It's like, you think they wouldn't? I mean, being in a womb for 9 months, and then, you're finally out and free. It's like you'd be kind of used to that, deep down, subconsciously.
Yeah. The game company that developed this is Bally Midway. Now they produce their own systems now for the arcades, but back in the day, I guess they didn't have the finances to do that. No, actually, I have this backwards. I'm sorry. Namco approached Bally Midway, and Bally chose wrong. They chose a game called Mappy, which I have played, which is boring as hell. And then Atari got the rights to Pole Position. Now, what's weird is, okay, so Atari made a ton of money off the console, the arcade console. Why is it that they were broke the same year? Pole Position came out in 1983. They made $60 million off that alone. How is it that same year they were bankrupt? That has to be just really, really bad spending.
I can't say. For me, like, I never even knew of Atari until later when I actually hit the hard arcades and played Pong and all the old classic games. I was always with, Super Nintendo and stuff like that. With Sega Genesis and then on.
Right. But, in 1983, 84, video games were on the verge of disappearing forever because Atari screwed up bad. First off, there's too many consoles at once. Back then the world wasn't ready for the Commodore, the Intellivision, the Atari, the what's the one with the weird?
There was Jaguar. I want to say
Jaguar wasn't until '95.
Virtual Boy.
No,
that was like in the '90s.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the original downfall in 1984. Those systems, the games. They didn't. Nintendo changed everything because they had quality assurance. You wanted a game put on their console, you had to go to them, and they placed like a special chip in there, so that they knew it was official. Now Atari and Commodore and Television, they didn't. ColecoVision, they didn't do any of this kind of stuff. So whoever could produce a game would put it on the console, and it didn't matter if it was good or bad. There was no quality assurance whatsoever. So people would go to the store trying to buy video games for their kids, and yeah, sure, they asked for Pole Position, the home console game. Well, that's $40. Why would I spend $40 on Pole Position when I look at this bin filled with shitty games that are no good, but you can get 10 games for the same exact price? And that's what destroyed video games, is because there was no quality whatsoever. But Nintendo saved it. What's funny is it's almost 30 years ago today where Nintendo was launched and saved video games.
Pretty much, yeah. Decisions like that are what happened to THQ. THQ just kept coming out with all these, low quality games, and that they eventually bankrupted themselves, and they were the ones against, used gaming.
Yeah, LJN did the same thing. Licensing, spending a ton of money licensing a movie, and then making the worst game, but everybody was suckered in for years, and then finally we just got wise to it, and then they went bust.
Right. I do want to say this. Namco, I think the most known franchise I know that they've done recently was Soul Calibur, or the whole Soul Edge, Soul Calibur genre. I thought that was one of the most fun ones and most one of the coolest fighting games I've ever played.
Yeah, it's Pole Position is still available in many, many versions. There's even a Namco Speedway in the collection. There's a plug and play. You ever used one of those plug and plays?
I think so. Yes, where they store a bunch of like old Namco games. Like
it's in the controller. Yeah, you just plug it right into your TV. It's awesome.
I know. It's like that's got to be a lot of storage too.
Yeah, what's funny is I think that this is now easily available for download. So if you have an Xbox or Nintendo or whatever, I'm sure you can just go on there and no problem, download it for a couple bucks.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, but other than that, I mean, Pole Position, I don't even think it would even get like a remake.
No, it's of its time only. A lot of video games, they have a character that you connect to or a story that's like, hey, you know what? That's something that could be revived. But there are some games. By the way, I want to say this: the dad in this, or whoever this is, he looks a lot like the actor Sam Waterston from Law and Order.
Yeah. He does actually. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that guy kind of looks like.
Go ahead.
I think the one with the dark hair kind of reminded me of Patrick Dempsey at one angle.
Yeah. This cartoon only lasted 13 episodes, and there's probably a reason. You still there?
Yeah, I can definitely tell. I can tell already. I'm constantly looking at my watch. I'm like, is this over yet?
No, you did the robot voice, which usually means my internet's cutting out. But maybe you are just turning into a robot. I knew it this whole time.
Oh no, my phone is gonna assimilate into my body, and I'm gonna turn into a robot, just like in Superman 3.
I think we could probably end this now. I mean, we're not to the end. We usually try to finish. We're fairly close, but we would just be padding this for the next 7 minutes. Pole position.
Yeah.
It was on for 13 episodes. I remember it was rerun for a couple years, I feel, on CBS. And I liked it at the time, but, it doesn't hold up. And, of course, it has
not at all.
The video game had no plot, so why would you connect to this at all? I don't get it.
Yeah. She kind of reminds me of Adrienne Barbeau.
Barbeau butt.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and stop it here. Go ahead. If you want to continue watching it at home, we have no problem with that whatsoever. I will recommend Speed Racer. I would only recommend Pole Position as kind of a time capsule of the moment, especially if you're into video games. But there are much better cartoons out there. There's Dragon Slayer and Space Ace, which are amazing. There's Saturday Super Kid. There's a Mario Brothers show. I'm not going to say Zelda. That name is evil. That was one of the worst cartoons ever.
Oh, God.
And the Pac-Man cartoon, of course, is one of my favorites. Whenever it's on, I just eat it up. I love that cartoon. That was not a pun.
Yeah, no. Oh, my God. Me? Yes. Do you usually have a side of cherries?
I do.
Oh, all right.
All
Me,
right,
honestly, you got me hooked into Captain N. That one I'm definitely going to continue watching.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that one. That one's awesome because it's a bunch of different worlds all together. Yeah, so Pole Position.
Especially the Castlevania world.
Pole Position is really on the bottom there, probably close to the Legend of Zelda cartoon. So I probably skip that unless it's just pure curiosity. So I guess that's we tried to do an episode that was close to Fast and Furious and some sort of street racing car oriented thing. We tried watching Speed Buggy. I never actually got around to it, but we might try that later. There's Mask, which is like G.I. Joe but with cars and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. We were talking about doing DuckTales and Rescue Rangers next.
Yes, we could do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
or should we stick to?
Go ahead.
I was like, should we stick to like a Marvel cartoon because that's going to be coming out soon?
Well, the plan was DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, and then after that we're going to do Marvel cartoons because of Avengers coming out. So we'll have like 2 episodes of those.
Okay, sounds perfect.
Thank you everybody for your support. Check us out, Retro Rocket Entertainment. We have all of our shows up there. Of course, Back in Tunes is the one that gets so much love, so much support. Thank you, everybody. If you have a double feature you have in mind, let us know. Otherwise, we're signing off. This is Michael. Peace out.
Yeah, this is Jacob. I want to show my appreciation as well. We love you. Oh gosh, it's like, oh my God, it just makes me want to sing. Something from Cat in the Hot Tin Roof, or is it Fiddler on the Roof? I can't remember. It's the Matchmaker song. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find and catch me a catch. And I found my catch with this audience. I will say that much right now. All right, everybody, have a good night. Have fun.
You realize there's probably gonna be a restraining order file after this.
Oh jeez. Oh God. Oh, that's right. Because I forget. I mean, I'm still thinking our most of our audience would be like adults, not kids.
Yes. Let's keep this PC. All right, everybody.
Oh my gosh! It's like school. It's almost like school. That scene in School of Rock when Jack Black is like talking about how he's that kind of situation.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He didn't touch them at
your
all.
children have touched me, and I have touched them.
Something like that. Please, let's not take this out of proportion. Let's not freak out over every little thing.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Have a good night.